Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Today I would like to discuss with you the growing need to raise awareness of invisible disabilities in the workplace. As cited in a recent March 2015 NPR radio broadcast, between 2005 and 2010, the most commonly cited disability discrimination charge cited with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission were for invisible disabilities. With millions of Americans suffering from invisible disabilities, it is likely that each of you either know someone directly or indirectly who has been affected by an invisible disability in the workplace. According to the Invisible Disability Association, the term invisible disabilities refers to symptoms such as debilitating pain, fatigue, dizziness, cognitive dysfunctions, brain injuries, learning differences, and mental health disorders, as well as hearing and vision impairments. As an individual who has witnessed and experienced discrimination involving invisible disabilities in the workplace firsthand, I am able to provide credible knowledge of the topic and share with you the struggles employees with invisible disabilities face. It is important to raise awareness of invisible disabilities in the workplace because right now, the majority of employers do little to acknowledge those with invisible disabilities and often fail to accommodate the needs of these individuals. However, through raising awareness and continued education, discrimination involving these disabilities in the workplace can be easily reduced. After hearing what I have to say, it is my hopes that each of you will go back to your place of employment and discuss with your employer the need to establish a training program aimed at raising awareness of invisible disabilities in the workplace. To better understand the situation, we must first understand why the problem occurs. The problem is bigger than not treating invisible disabilities the same as visible disabilities. The problem occurs because the majority of employers may not be aware of the issue, and when they are made aware of the issue, they do not know how to properly accommodate it. For example, take into consideration the story of Jay, a former coworker of mine. Jay looked perfectly fine on the outside, but what no one knew in the workplace was that Jay had previously suffered from brain cancer and as a result had to have a small portion of his brain removed when they removed his tumor. As a result of the side effects, Jay suffered from severe migraines, which often caused him to miss work or have to leave work early. Jay was threatened on multiple occasions that if he missed any more work, his employment would be terminated. However, when Jay finally brought his medical condition to the attention of our employer, the proper accommodations were made because the employer was made aware of Jay's invisible disability. Unfortunately, not all employers are so accommodating. As an individual who struggles with chronic irritable bowel syndrome, I understand the struggles of having to have special accommodations. In the past, I have had issues with employers due to the fact that I frequent the bathroom more often than the average employee. At one place of employment, it became a running joke that if I could not be found when someone was looking for me, I would most likely be found in the bathroom, because that is where I was often at. Although it seemed like a harmless joke to everyone else at the time, the more often the joke was made, the more uncomfortable it became for me to use the restroom. Even after informing my employer why I was using the restroom so often, and why on certain days I prefer to pick tasks that required me to be close to the restroom after my lunch breaks, my employer continued to make jokes and to schedule me with tasks away from the bathroom facilities after these breaks. This not only made it difficult for me to complete my work, but it also weighed heavily on my personal morale. Now that we have taken a moment to briefly discuss the problem at hand, let's take a deeper look into how to overcome the problem. Employers need to raise awareness and educate their employees about invisible disabilities in the workplace and encourage open dialogue. According to the North Illinois University, one of the biggest issues with overcoming workplace discrimination is that employees often feel uncomfortable discussing their condition with their employer due to the social stigma and potential misperception among coworkers. By encouraging open dialogue, employers and employees alike can reduce the fear of social stigma and potential misperceptions associated with invisible disabilities. My solution is to raise awareness by getting employers to hold training seminars for new and existing employees that will specifically address invisible disabilities in the workplace. Doing so will help raise awareness and educate employees about the employer's willingness to comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act and accommodate those with special needs. As a result, the number of disability discrimination charges filed with the EEOC should be reduced drastically. By creating an environment free of disability discrimination, it will be easier to create a hostile-free environment for those with invisible disabilities. The biggest advantage of establishing a workplace that openly acknowledges invisible disabilities is that it is the first step in raising awareness in the epidemic on all levels. By raising awareness, everyone benefits. Those with the disabilities will feel less like social pariahs, and those without them will have a better understanding of what those with the disabilities are going through on a daily basis, and will understand that the accommodations being made are guaranteed to the employee by law, not due to favoritism being played by the employer. Failure to raise awareness can lead to an increased risk of accident for other employees in the event that proper accommodations are not made due to the symptoms and side effects of not taking the proper medications at the scheduled time. Now that we have discussed what the problem is and how the problem can be eradicated, the last thing to discuss is what part you can do in raising awareness. At the very least, I would like each of you to do an internet search for the following image. Upon finding this image, I would like you to print it off and approach your employer to discuss with them the need to raise awareness of invisible disabilities in the workplace and the possibilities of starting an educational training program. During your discussion with the employer, explain to them the benefits of raising awareness and let them know that they can start now by posting this sign in various locations throughout the workplace. In addition, I would like to encourage those that you know with invisible disabilities to create an open dialogue with their employer as a means of reducing workplace discrimination. As adults, it is important to lead by example, and by raising awareness of invisible disabilities in the workplace, we can start the discussion of invisible disabilities in other public places, including schools, places of worship, the grocery store, and even public transportation. Thank you for your time and attention, and I look forward to each of you doing your part to raise awareness.